Immerse in the profound wisdom of the Shandilya Bhakti Sutras, ancient verses, revered as a pinnacle of devotion and spiritual awareness. Under the guidance of His Holiness Swami Jyotirmayananda, plunge into the infinite ocean of this revered scripture. Discover its hidden truths. Embrace its transformative power. Awaken to new realms of divine love and spiritual awareness. The depths are calling. The deeper you dive, the more treasures you'll discover. And now, Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Vasudevasutam Devam Kansyachanuramardanam Devki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Shandilya Bhakti Sutras, Sutra number 46. Tad Vaktya Sheshat Pradurbhaveshwapi Sa. The devotion is the highest, even when directed to the incarnations of God, because this is known from the statement of the Gita. Now focus your mind to the simple theme that has been described. Devotion to God. First, to have profound understanding of the goal of life. And devotion to God is the most effective and profound process leading to God realization. The fact is that you have been loving God in a state of illusion. Anything that you have loved all through your life. Anything you have loved all through countless life. When you were a swan, you loved a lake. When you were a lion, you had a whole lion family to love. I'm just counting a few. Anything you have loved. Your love has been directed towards God, but it seems that there are so many things to love in the world. It seems the world is a world of Maya. The sun is one. And if you are a devotee of the sun, try to think of the strange phenomenon. There are countless reflections of the sun. All that you experience in relation to the sun, all type of illumination, the source is the sun. So if you have loved a rainbow, or if you have loved some clouds, or if you have loved dazzling water, or reflected sun in so many things, you have made a whole diary about it. When I went to Niagara Falls, how the water was dazzling with the rays of the sun. All that you have done is the sun in countless ways. All your love for the sun, all that you have loved in the world, in the form, so many forms of illumination, the source is the sun. So if you were to love the sun, you loved all. You have two ways to go. Just love the sun, and you loved all. Or turn your mind to the world and go on looking for where is the best sunrise and how to chase it. Or where is the best sunset. And where are the best rainbows. and you go on running. At this rate, I will not be able to conclude it. I'm leading you to understand the importance of the subtle instinct that exists in every human being, the instinct to love and to be loved. These both aspects are fulfilled when a mind turns to God. And once mind turns to God, all this world and all multiplicity begins to fade away. They are there, but you don't go after. You see the sun reflected in the lake, etc. But you don't become involved with lakes and waters and various limited things. Your mind turns to the sun. My finger goes up only from a symbolic way. Because God is neither up nor down, the all permeating reality. So the question arises, how to direct the mind to God? How does he look like? There are, to give you a simple outline, the different stages. The most practical is Sagun Sakar. Sagun means God with qualities, attributes. Sakar, he has a form. Even though you may develop an idea, how can God have a form? And you may decide, I will not worship a form, God with form, worship formless God. You must realize, even when you say so, your mind has already created a form. How does formless God look like? Just like this guy. You have a concept. You can't get away from form. So why not be sincere? Turn to inspiring forms that God has presented to humanity in all religions of the world. In Vedic religion, of course, you have Rama, Krishna, Buddha, and so many devis, gods, goddesses. Christianity, Christ, and so forth. Turning your mind to form. Here again, your mind should not be in conflict. Have I chosen the right form? Initiated into Krishna mantra. Did I enjoy Lord Shiva? I could have had more benefits by turning to Shiva, or could have more benefits by turning to the Devi, God. Or probably turning to Mother Mary could have given me more benefits than just being focused on Lord Jesus. These are childish. Whichever, whomsoever you choose, is the God. And what you have not chosen, they are different aspects of the same God. The simple illustration I give. If you are 10, 12 brothers, sisters, and you have a mother, and all of you love your mother, with your mother technology, you have taken pictures of her in so many poses. And each one chooses a particular pose. Suppose each one has a kind of a puja room to worship. And the form you have chosen, you put it on the highest pedestal. And the same person, the other poses down. You go into the another room with another brother or sister. That person has chosen another pose. And they all are amused, they all are very happy, because ultimately we are worshipping the same. But think of a little twisted situation. One brother says, this is the only pose you must put. If you put another pose, I'm going to fight you. that becomes foolish, childish, dull-wit. First thing that you have to always understand, God is the one. It doesn't matter what form someone has chosen, what religion a person has adopted. It doesn't matter. And therefore, Shandilya gives you a very simple point. Incarnations of God. Every now and then, in the passage of time, whenever there is great disbalance in the world, yada yada hi dharmanam, so forth. Whenever there is increase of evil, vice, and whenever the world seems to slide into a tremendous darkness, a cosmic power manifests from time to time. That happens automatically. That's the divine law. That descent of cosmic presence or cosmic power can occur in a highly enlightened person. All sages and saints, in a way, are incarnation. However, there are special incarnations that every society, every religious community has chosen. For example, Rama, Krishna, and different incarnations, Buddha, and so forth, and different aspects, Goddess Lakshmi, Goddess Saraswati. That form is important. To choose a form, be initiated into a mantra that allows your mind to be focused. Your attitude to other forms should remain absolutely joyous. If, for example, you are a devotee of Krishna and come into gathering where people are singing Rama, or whether they are also, or possible, having some Christian songs, who knows? It doesn't matter. Same God is being worshipped in so many. You can sit, listen, and all the sweetness, the melody of the prayer, feel they are being offered to Rama or to Krishna. In other words, your mind should have absolutely no conflict within it. So that's one point. Second point, why are you turning your mind to God? That is something that you have to go on working with in a profound way. In lower level of bhakti, lower level of devotion, God is viewed as means to an end. So whenever you are in trouble, repeat your mantra, do a special puja, a special prayer, and pray. But when your desire has been fulfilled, then there is no need for troubling God. Let him rest. There is but a lot of work to do. Speaking in a humorous way, but the point is, I'm leaving it. As long as we view God as means to an end, even though you are worshipping the Krishna, the Rama, you are worshipping other gods, not the God. There is a subtle point made in the Gita. That's what Bhakti Sutra is pointing to. I will elaborate more. Now let me turn to the Gita to explain to you what I'm referring to. Kamastaistairhirtagyanaha prapadyante devata tam tam niyamamastaya prakritya niyataha swaya. is chapter 7 of the Gita, in 20th verse. Those whose minds are overpowered by numerous desires are constrained by their own nature to worship different gods by observing different rituals, rites. This confuses the people. Am I worshipping other God or the God? So it is not something so simple. The point is, it depends upon your internal attitude, internal understanding. And there is no harm if you are worshipping other God. Krishna makes it easy to understand. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhayarchutamichyati tasya tasyachalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. Whatever divine form a devotee wishes to worship with faith, I intensify his faith in that very form. God has no problem. Whichever form you have adopted, he takes that form and inspires you. And since you have adopted that form for a limited purpose, God's hands are tied. That's what you want. Some limited result. You don't want liberation. Liberation will be shocking if your mind is interested in little things. So therefore, God, assuming the role of the limited God whom you are worshipping, grants you that boon. And while you are successful in relating yourself to limited gods, you must realize the source is the God. Little gods have no special power. All divine powers have one source. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedasa devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. But these worshippers, the worshippers of many gods or the other gods, possessing dull intellect, attain perishable results. The worshippers of gods, referring to many gods with a limited mind, worshippers of gods go to the gods, while those who worship me, they come to me. Of course, people who read it in a very superficial way, they have no problem. You say, here, look what Krishna is saying. Those who worship me, they go to me. So don't worship anybody else. So the entire system is focused on Krishna only. And there's a lot of energy is wasted how to bring down other manifestations and go on proving Krishna is the great. And that's not the real purpose. Krishna is same as Rama, Rama is same as Jesus. Jesus and Shiva and all profound ideals in all religions are just the same. But even though you are worshipping the highest, according to your concept, but if your mind is drawn to ego-based goal, then you are not really worshipping the God. The result will be limited. And even so, the result has come from the God, because all gods, if you worship the waves of the ocean, you are actually worshipping the ocean. But since your attention is only on the waves, so your satisfaction, the world of attainment is limited. However, you must realize that any form of worship, even in a deluded way, is much better than having no worship at all. And as you begin to do prayer and worship, you are drawn to satsanga. You enter into a temple for a limited desire. This is what I want to accomplish. But there you find a satsanga, and there you are open now to listening to the devotion and listening to the profound insight into wisdom, etc. So your mind begins to move towards the higher aspect of God. So even the lesser aspect of worshipping is perfectly fine. But for having a profounder understanding, which allows your devotion to become profoundly effective, that profound understanding must be developed. This point has been brought out in the Gita. Yogis, people who have turned to God, there are two types. Those who have not been able to have a clearer understanding of the goal. Those who are led by various desires, and their goal always is, let me attain heaven, let me have wonderful enjoyments after death. Things that you could not accomplish in this world, you think, in the heaven you will have all of it. So much so, even little things, like if you are not able to get tea and coffee every day, in heaven at least you will get it every day. In this world, everything you eat, you are always afraid what the effect is going to be. In heaven, you don't. In Hindu heaven, milk surges in the ocean. Butter, there is a whole reservoir of butter. So ocean of honey. And you can drink it, go and drink it day and night. All traumatization, all is symbolic, mystical. Even you step up to a deeper way of understanding that you are happy, a sense of great joy in life, you get it, led by certain good karmas of the past. What people say, good luck, fortune. But then there is saying, charge inoki chandani fir andheri raat. Full moon goes on expressing its splendor for 4 days, 2 days before, 2 days after. And then there's nothing but the same story, andheri raat, dark night. It is a very profound topic to understand. Two terms, sakamya, niskamya. Sakamya literally means with desire. Nishkamya, without desire. But go beyond just literal meaning. As long as you are inspired or driven by desire to get certain situation in the world of time and space, so long you have not broken the veil of ignorance. And all your attainments will be limited, no matter how great they are. Another aspect, the ideal, if you have lived your life in a profound way with integral yoga and balanced yourself, then your mind is not deluded by ego-based attainment. Your mind turns to attaining liberation, mukti, or call it parabhakti, supreme devotion to God. And this point has to become clearer in your heart more and more, even though your mind may turn to little things. You pray for improving certain situation, pray for healing some sick person, yourself, etc. All those prayers are perfectly wonderful. As long as you understand they are waves in the ocean. And ocean should not be forgotten. Ocean is God. Your goal is God realization. Keeping God realization in view, all that you do is perfectly okay. But if God realization is not in view, and you have no understanding of it, then you need to grow, need to have more satsanga, need to have more insight, more good karmas. Let me give you the simple outline. Gita puts it in the terms of two paths, Uttarayana, Dakshinayana. Uttarayana is the northern path. It's also known as Jyotirmarga, the path of light. And the other is called path of darkness. It is described in a highly mystical way that when a person who has been highly purified, whose mind has turned to God, the God, when he dies, fire God guides his soul. Then the deity of the day guides him further. Then the deity of the bright half of the month inspires him. I will not go into details, but just giving you some touch. The idea that is being presented to you, if your mind turns to God, your life has moved on in a spiral process of enlightenment. You are moving from light to light. Now, to be more practical, what it means. Fire means vairagya. Your heart begins to experience the awakening of the fire of dispassion. Dispassion implying that I am not defined by objects, more like the sky. The sky has vairagya, handles all the clouds, but it is absolutely untouched. It's not dependent on any cloud to leave any scratch on it. And clouds have been coming and going for countless years, leaving not a single scratch in the sky. I have a tendency to just move away that way. That Agni type of quality begins to develop within. That's called Vairagya. Along with it, grace of sun god begins to operate. That's a Viveka. Viveka is discriminative knowledge. Your intellect begins to show the difference between the higher goal, the goal moving towards God realization, and worldly enjoyment. There is a difference between bhoga, just going after enjoyment, or turning to moksha, liberation. Another set of words used is preya and shreya. Things appear so pleasant, people go after. But if you have developed Godward movement, your mind is after what is shreya, what enriches you in a profound way, not just what pleases you at the level of your sentiments. That distinction comes in your intellect, that's called viveka. So fire god came to welcome you, and then you are shifted into the hands of Jyoti, a special grace of sun god. Then the deity of the day implies the spirit of yajna. Putting it in simple terms, your actions become more and more of a divine yajna, a kind of a sacrifice. Sacrifice, because if you are doing righteous actions, the impurities of the mind, they move away. They are like animals in ritual. being sacrificed. All activities Gita has given, they are viewed by an aspirant as yajna, as a form of sacrifice. Next profound change that occurs within the aspirant is Shukla Paksha. Shukla Paksha is the bright half of the month, where moon goes on waxing until it comes to full moon. Moon is a symbol of bhavana, feeling within your heart. Your feeling, divine feeling, is like the moon. As the sky becomes unclouded, as clouds begin to diminish, the moon begins to wax. Nothing gives you so much warmth and profound experience than feeling. But feeling remains cramped. If you are following the right course, turn towards God realization, you will discover your heart is becoming increasingly more and more like a clear blue sky. Clouds are moving away. The quality of your love becomes so profound that it's not dependent on people, their forms, their dealings, their voices. It becomes unrestricted. If your feeling aspect is limited, then it is conditional. If someone speaks nicely, I will speak nicely. That's think of a nurse going into a hospital. The duty of the nurse is not dependent upon whether the patients speak nicely or not. If the nurse is compassionate, the good feeling of the nurse will not be upset if the patients start shouting at the nurse and scold the nurse and say a lot of nasty things. If you understand that, that's the challenge for the human heart. Can you entertain a feeling for all humanity? Feeling that is never thwarted. It goes on waxing because your feeling is directed to God in all. Let's describe the Shukla Paksha, the bright half of the month. Today you are one day behind, tomorrow it's a little more. But only this bright half has no end. The waxing process has no limit. It goes on waxing. That's the definition of infinity. And then the scripture describes the deity of Uttarayana, the 6 months when the sun's course is towards the north. What happens? The daytime increases, day by day, until it reaches to a climax. This again symbolic. It relates to removal of vasanas, subtle desires that obscure the light of your consciousness. Your consciousness is all light. Your consciousness is like a big mirror. You're reflecting threefold illusions. The illusion of drashtadi, feeling I am the subject, I am important. The illusion of the world. The illusion, the way you deal with the objects of the world day by day. Think of your dream. In your dream, your consciousness is splits up into 3. It becomes this dream subject, it becomes the dream world, and the dream subject is involved in a certain situation of pleasure or pain. All these have reflected in your consciousness. They're nothing real. The entire world reflects in consciousness. If vasanas, subtle desires that obscure the view of that majestic glory of consciousness, if those desires were to move away, then you have become increasingly aware. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. In the beginning, your eyes are a little cloudy, so now and then you have to wipe your eyes and turn your attention to who am I. As the cloudiness moves away, you begin to have that awareness. I am. I am the sun. I am not the reflected sun. This is a profound state. And that's what you are led to. More and more you advance. The end result, you are led to the sun. This is described in a poetic way. People who have followed the right course, the life that has been moving towards enlightenment. The entire process can happen within your lifetime. If for some reason there is obstruction, you are not losing your sadhana. The next embodiment, you carry on. But that's the process. If you have attained the highest, the entire process has worked out right within your life. If that has happened, it's called Sadhya Mukti, instantaneous liberation. If it happens after death, it's called Krama Mukti. Nothing crummy about it. Krama, gradual. If you secure any of the two, you have attained the highest. Next contrast, Dharma Marga. If you have not understood this, then what you face is, at the time of death, there is Vairagya moves away from your mind. Vairagya, that sense of detachment. You never view I am the sky. You view yourself, your little patch of blue, and the clouds are choking you. And so you pray to the clouds, little give me room to move away. Patch of blue has become little expanded. And it continues to cry, continues to be in agony. That I give you a poetic way to understand. Lack of vairagya. Towards, as aging process starts, you are moving towards your final stage in life. There is increasing lack of vairagya, and moha increases. Moha is delusion. Little things become very important to your mind. You want to hold on. All this you have to study in a very detached way. Just like you study a medical book and you don't become affected when you see. You read all the nasty symptoms. Next point, Ratri. Ratri is night. First started a little smoky. Welcome. As a person dies, the spirit is welcomed by the deity is smoke. Then he is led to the deity of the night. Night relates to non-discrimination. Intellect can't differentiate between the right and the wrong, the real and the unreal. This leads to Krishna Paksha. Krishna Paksha is the dark half of the month, when the moon begins to wane until it begins to become all dark. The moon is your bhavana, feeling, the joyous feeling that is there. In its fullness, it is love of God, but it begins to diminish. Delusion increases in your heart. The sky is so clouded, and the moon is shrinking. This lands you into a 6 months when the sun is turning to south, implying the daytime shortens, implying your consciousness contracts. implying you become more and more engrossed in the threefold illusion: me, the world, and the way the interaction goes on, led by karma. You land yourself in the world of moon. There's a difference with the sun and the moon. Sun has its own light. The moon is reflecting the light of the sun, shining because of sun's light. In other words, now all your experiences are illusory. You are experiencing happiness, but is not the happiness. You are experiencing that which will not give you fulfillment. The moment a certain form of karma has been exhausted, you come into embodiment. And you continue to move from one embodiment to another. Imagine the Upanishads have packed up all these points, and they go on telling you in 2 words: pravritti, nivritti. Pravritti is that which I described, the moonward. You're moving towards, led by smoke, led by night, led by the dark hour. You are moving towards the moon. All experiences are appearances, magical, illusory. Or nishkamya, nivritti. You are developing purity of intellect. Your heart is expanding. Your mind is becoming free of attachment and hatred. Your subtle impressions are undergoing a great change. Until there is a full revelation: I am that am. The sun shines forth, tearing the veil of dark. And I will not tear anymore. Om Shanti.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of spiritual growth. It's an honor to learn from the wisdom of Swami Jyotirmayananda. As we part for now, remember, the quest does not end. Take time to reflect on today's insights and integrate them into your life. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, stay present. The light within you is always shining.